Next year's election still a ways out, but political candidates are hard at work trying to raise dough for those big campaigns.
Our chief political reporter Mike Dennison looks at the early money flowing into the two biggest races in Montana next year, the U.S. Senate and that open U.S. House seat.
In Montana's 2020 U.S. Senate race, incumbent Republican Steve Daines doesn't have a high-profile opponent. But he's still been collecting the campaign cash, about $4 million since he first took office in 2015. More than one-third of that money, almost $1.5 million, has come from political action committees, primarily representing businesses. Yet he's also raised about $2.4 million from individuals, including at least $600,000 from Montanans, or 15% of his total. He likely has more money from smaller Montana donors whose address isn't specified on reporting forms. Donors from New York, Texas, California, and the Washington, D.C. corridor have thrown in a collective $700,000 to Daines' campaign, about 17% of his receipts. The only Democrat in the Senate race with any funding to report so far is Helena Mayor Wilmot Collins, who raised only $91,000 through June 30th. The other Democrat, John Muse of Loma, entered the race last week, and his first finance report isn't due until October. In the U.S. House race, the fundraising leader is Democrat Kathleen Williams of Bozeman, who lost the 2018 contest for this seat to incumbent Republican Greg Gianforte by 5 percentage points. Gianforte is running for governor next year, making the House slot an open seat. Williams has raised $416,000 this year, and at least half that amount is from individual Montanans. She also likely has more from in-state donors giving small amounts. Another Democrat in the race, State Representative Tom Winter of Missoula, also raised a respectable $133,000 through June 30th. Winter, who moved here from Kansas City 10 years ago, raised 30% of his funds from donors in Kansas and Missouri. On the Republican side, State Auditor Matt Rosendale raised about $195,000 from donors in the final 2 weeks of June. His donors are from 22 states, and only about 1/4 of the money came from Montanans. Republican Secretary of State Corey Stapleton raised $108,000 in the same time period, and nearly 85% of that money came from the pockets of Montana donors. 3 other candidates are in this race, but 2 of them, Democrat Matt Raines and Republican Tim Johnson, started this month and, like Muse, don't report their finances until October. Republican Joe Dooling started just before the filing deadline in late June and raised less than $5,000 and was therefore exempt from reporting. Looks like the House race is wide open. But if money is any measure, Daines has a huge head start in the Senate contest. Still, these races are just getting underway with many rivers to cross before Election Day. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
And MTN News has also learned that additional candidates are thinking about entering that U.S. Senate race. So could be a very busy election season for us all.
Yeah, it's going to be busy. We'll keep you on top of everything. Still